This is how myths are executed a second time. 7 defenders lived through the Alamo's fall. 7 men went to their knees before their conqueror. What followed was so terrible, it forces us to re-examine the past. A find so volatile, it remained buried for over a century. A first-hand testimony that transforms the entire story. The command from the dictator himself. This wasn't combat. This was a criminal act. This is not conjecture. It is recorded fact. Though no one doubts Crockett's courage in those last frantic moments, new proof indicates a much more troubling death than the noble final battle we know. For almost 200 years, a single narrative prevailed. That changed in 1955, when an explosion of truth came from Mexican records. A personal history stating Crockett had, in fact, given himself up. First rejected as deceit, this report gained surprising validity upon its 1975 translation. Scholars reviewing freshly discovered Army documents and witness testimonies discovered alarming agreement with this different story. Sam Houston's original March 11, 1836, message held a vital, frequently missed point. Once the stronghold was taken, 7 survivors yielded and pleaded with Santa Anna for their lives. While he didn't identify Crockett, probably to prevent dispute during the precarious Texas Rebellion, period publications soon provided the names. That April, the Morning Star and New Orleans Commercial Bulletin wrote that 6 Texians were discovered alive by the chapel following the fighting. Numerous journals from Mexican officers depict a handful of captives being put to death on Santa Anna's command, a unique man in a frontier hat recorded amongst them. The most alarming report comes from the disputed De la Peña Journal. 7 captives, among them the celebrated woodsman Crockett, were brought before Santa Anna. As General Castrillon appealed for clemency, our leader coldly inquired if his directive was not understood. What happened next was tragic. This was not the heroism of combat, it was calculated slaughter, and the historical evidence confirms it. Immediately, junior officers unsheathed their swords and ruthlessly plunged them into the defenseless prisoners. This atrocity, witnessed by many Mexican troops, would permanently stain the operation's memory. A multitude of first-hand testimonies verify the atrocity. Santa Anna's personal aide, Ramon Martinez Caro, wrote in 1837 that 5 survivors were located by General Castrillon, only for soldiers to disrupt the line and butcher them without pity. The De la Peña diary offers even more grim specifics. 7 souls amazingly lived through the carnage, given refuge in the chapel's wreckage under Castrillon's guard. The party delivered to Santa Anna contained the notorious American pioneer David Crockett, identified at once by his unique fur hat and famed notoriety. The answer to Castrillon's entreaty was swift and vicious, a contemptuous gesture and an execution order for the men. Though high-ranking commanders drew back in disgust, unwilling to comply, a band of junior officers, those who had evaded the fray's most intense sections, eagerly seized the opportunity to display their devotion. They fell upon the helpless men like vultures on a carcass. Despite enduring terrible suffering in their last minutes, the captives perished with a stoic resolve, their honor intact even when confronting unimaginable brutality. As scholar Dan Kilgore carefully outlines in How Did Davy Die? 5 Mexican combatants, 4 commanders, and a sergeant, each separately identified Crockett with the slain prisoners. Their narratives, surfacing slowly over years in private memoirs and official affidavits, create an indisputable agreement. Where one account could be doubted, their collective force presents the conflict's most conclusively recorded atrocity. The facts are unequivocal. Crockett outlived the battle, only to be killed upon Santa Anna's express command. James Shackelford's David Crockett provides the conclusive viewpoint. Our fixation on his last moments overshadows a larger point. How he died is significantly less important than how he lived and what his martyrdom eventually symbolized. His end reflected his existence. Each served as proof of steadfast bravery. He confronted the untamed land and conflict with the identical resolute spirit that defined his end when facing a despot. His whole life was a breathing testament to the pioneer values he held dear. When his fate arrived, it discovered him defying subjugation precisely as he had always existed, ensuring his remembrance would be for why he stood firm, not the way he was slain. The mythic pioneer did not die in a blaze of heroic combat. He was slain powerless amidst the rubble, locking eyes with a tyrant before his assassins ended his life. We were given a cleansed fable when the truth offers a much more compelling lesson on devotion. Why was this account lost for so long? Patriotic fervor, expedient politics, or our shared refusal to acknowledge that real valor can be utterly vulnerable? 5 seasoned Mexican combat officers recorded it. Sam Houston's own dispatch suggested it. Contemporary publications reported it before a curated collective memory prevailed. The proof existed all along. We merely decided to ignore what contradicted the story we desired. But pleasant tales are not the past. Real history is complicated, frequently brutal, and endlessly, deeply human. Crockett was not merely another death at the Alamo. He was a captive put to death by order, and this completely reshapes our comprehension. This is the truth few will acknowledge. 1. The noble final battle tale was a fabrication. 2. The authentic account proved too complex for our classrooms. 3. We have been instructing children with a purified falsehood for decades. So we are left with a single, haunting question. If we have been so wrong about this, what else have we gotten wrong? The truth wasn't buried in the ground. It was buried in plain sight, waiting for us to be brave enough to see it. The Alamo doesn't need another legend. It needs the truth, and the truth is always more powerful. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and also tap the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into America's defining moments.